And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today I'm doing a preview of a game that's currently on Kickstarter, and it's not on Kickstarter much longer, just about a week, called New Dawn. Now when I heard about New Dawn, I was very excited because this is from Artipia Games, and this is kind of a sequel to a game that I love of theirs called Among the Stars, which is a drafting game in which you're building a space station. This takes it a bit farther, having you kind of go up against other players. It has a little bit of combat. There's a lot of cool little things in this game. Let's take a look at this preview of New Dawn. As with all Dice Tower previews, everything you're seeing is a prototype. Some of it might be done, but a lot of it is not completely finished. In fact, this game comes with 8 different alien races, and I had a chance to play with 4 of the different ones. Each alien race comes with a special ability that only that person has, and they come with a certain number of spaces here in which they're going to place bases. Now, this is kind of a way to get currency over the course of this game. You have these mobile headquarters, and you'll be able to build these. They'll give you victory points when they're built. And building different technology cards as the game progresses will also give you victory points. Putting your bases out gives you victory points. When you have a chance to put a base out, you're going to place a base, and at the beginning of each round of the game, when you do production, you're going to get currency based on the number of free spots here. So this gives me 1 military currency and 1 scientific currency. There's also economic currency, and so the more bases you have on the board, the more currency you're going to get each round. Now there's a few ways to get points. I just showed you some of them. There's actually things that will give you points, but the main way to get points are 2 ways. At the end of each round, you have a chance to give aid to the alliance, and there will be some cards face up next to the board, and you can pay, for example here, 1 economic and 1 scientific currency to get 1 victory point. You'll take the card to keep track of the points. This one here, 2 economic, 1 tech, and 1 military gives 2 victory points. So these will be available at the end of a round, but also players are going to be building the different parts of different sections here, and each of these is going to be worth victory points if you control it at the end of a round. So the first thing that's done over the course of a round is you get your economic, you produce based on what's on your alien card in front of you. Then you're going to draw cards. There's 4 different cards you can draw from. You have economic type buildings, science buildings, military buildings, and then hostile buildings. So you can draw up the 4 cards from those. And then players are going to explore the facility. They're going to take a card from their hand, and they're going to place it adjacent to the starting base or to another building that's on the board, and that can even be diagonally. Now, when you place these buildings, you're going to get to do the special ability of that building. For example, this one here gives 1 science currency, and you can explore another economic facility. So when I put this out, I would get a science currency, and then I can explore, put out another economic one, which this one here gives me 2 economic currency, and if it's placed next to another economic facility, I get an extra currency. Well, hooray! So I put that here, and then I get the currency for that. So I'm taking this currency by putting these out, and each player is going to put out 1. Well, in this case, I put out multiples, and they're going to decide where to put those in this exploring phase. Then, each player is going to be able to buy technology. Now, each alien race has their own technology. You can see here that my very beautiful alien here, and he comes, I'm not even sure to pronounce that, the Garen Athak Nok race. They come with their own set of technology cards. Now, I should mention that the game has several rounds, and the first 2 rounds are A, and the other rounds are B. So during the first rounds, I can only buy A technologies, and then B technologies, just like the buildings that are out in stacks. There's stacks of A's, and then after round 2, you put out the stack of B buildings that people can put out. But these technologies here, they have a cost. You can see this one costs 1 economic and 1 science. This one costs 1 science. This one costs 2 science, and so on. When you build a technology, you're going to place it underneath your character sheet, and you can use each of these once per turn. Think of it as tapping, like in Magic. Here I can pay 1 currency of any type, and I can move one of my mobile headquarter pieces on the board. Or maybe later on, I can re-roll up the 2 dice once when I'm the attacker. Or I can add 2 to my total when I'm the attacker. You can see here that this race here, the Garanathakmok, they are a military-oriented race, and each race has a different technology deck that they can build. After players buy technology, you can then take your mobile headquarters and place it somewhere on the board. So players will be placing their mobile headquarters in different spots, and there will be more buildings, and as the game goes by, there's going to be a lot of different places for players to move onto the board. Then players are going to get 3 actions each. So you'll start, each player will take an action, and you go around the table. Now actions can be of various things. You can simply take a resource of your choice. So I need an economic resource. All right, great. I just take one. Now this doesn't happen often, but sometimes you need that resource. You can also establish a base. If you're next to or on a base and no one else controls that base, you pay the cost of it. You look at the type of base. Is it an economic base? You take an economic base off your economic track and place it there. You now control that. You can also do the same thing through military. You can attack a base. You don't have to pay anything for it, but you roll dice. And the game actually comes with several different dice that can be rolled. Normally you roll a 6-sided die, but you can upgrade to a yellow die, which is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. There's a red die, which is even better, which is a 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. And then there's a green die, which isn't that great. It's a 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. However, this die can often be added. And different things will affect it. However many mobile headquarters you have, maybe special abilities that you might have in play, determine the number, and you have to roll higher than the total of the victory points and the cost. So I would need to roll higher than a 4 to conquer this one. But if yellow already controlled it, instead of just conquering the 4, I'm rolling off against yellow, who might have defensive dice based on what they have in the spot. So military doesn't cost anything, but it's not always going to happen because of the defender, and so there's some chance in doing a military conquest of a base. Now, whenever you take over one of these places, you'll notice that there's arrows. See, this temporary settlement has an arrow on it, and down below it here, this has 3 arrows on the Union Economic Center. Whenever you take over a base, whether it's by economic means or by military, you're going to rotate it any way you want. The reason this matters is, on the outside of the board, there are 4 cards. This here gives you a defense upgrade, a +2. Over here, this gives you a token that gives you a +2 that you can use in a roll. Over here, this here lets you move one of your mobile headquarters. And so there's 4 different of these cards on the table, and depending on where you point your arrow, you'll get the benefits of those cards. Those cards will change. They're not all used in each game. And so it's a pretty cool way of having the rotation of the station matter. Another thing you can do is you can buy another mobile headquarters and move your mobile headquarters. They're expensive, and you can see the military currency is used for these, but they do give you points, and it helps you in attacks and also the different actions you can do. And then you can also move a mobile headquarter. And then finally, you can buy and utilize an ambassador. Now you can see here I have the little plastic piece for these ambassadors, but each ambassador can be used. Sometimes they have a cost. So for example, this guy has a cost of 1 red military. And this guy says, I can seize control of another station, adding a red die to my control. This ambassador here, establish a base paying 1 less. This guy here, choose a facility in your hand. You can export a facility on an adjacent region. This guy here, choose 2 facility cards and keep one of them, or draw 2 and keep one. You may pay 1 science to export that facility on an adjacent region. So each of these ambassadors are really useful. When you use them, you need to put them in the spot that you use them, and there can only be 2 ambassadors per spot, so you can't keep using the same ambassadors on a different spot, and there's some restrictions there, but their abilities are usually better than your generic actions, and you'll find that players will use them quite often. Then at the end of a round, after players have taken their actions, they have a chance to basically buy one of these 8 to the Alliance, which is then immediately replaced. So each player has a chance to buy one of these and get additional points. You keep doing this. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points is the winner. Okay, folks, New Dawn is on Kickstarter right now, and at the very end of this video, you'll see a link for that. You can also find a link in the YouTube comments of the game, and it has a very strong space theme. The cards look very similar to those from Among the Stars, but they have a very different thing. There's so many different options in this game, and it's kind of cool with the 3 different kinds of currency. Now I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to take off my paid preview hat per se, because I want to explain a couple things. First of all, if you notice, I don't do many paid previews these days because I'm just very busy doing reviews, and also I wanted to do paid previews of only games that I was like absolutely sure I would fantastically love. And I have to say, I'm really happy with this one. This was so neat. There's so much going on the board. I mean, the prototype pieces are looking really cool. I can't wait to see this game in all of its glory. And just the options that you have. You can go for economic. You can go for technology. You can go for the attacking other players. And I love a game that lets me attack other players, but at the same time, it's not a conquest, I'm conquering everything. They can go around and ignore your attacking maybe and buy things. Attacking gets you points by controlling these different bases on the board, but at the same time, you might be ignoring another section, and they can attack back. There's nobody who can just walk all over everyone else. Using the ambassadors, the fact that there's going to be different ambassadors each game, and there's different cards. You can pick which deck you're drawing the cards from. Sometimes the cards, that rotation thing where you look at the things, get the bonuses around the board. This seems a bit complex, but I'm telling you, when I played it, it was very simple on how the game worked. Where the game has its diverging paths and different things is in the hand of cards you have. You look and say, wow, which of these would be great? And then the person next to you puts out one that you like even more. So that must be mine. I'm going to go take over that one for the points. Or I want to be able to rotate that. This has 3 arrows on, so I can rotate and get little bonus chips that let me re-roll dice rolls, that let me add 2 to a die roll. I was just really impressed by this. I love the idea of taking the bases off and you get more production. I love the fact that every game is going to play out very differently based on the different bases that people put out and the technologies people buy. I like the technologies and special power that aliens have that make them very unique, very cool. And this game isn't very long. The games that I've been playing have been taking about 90 minutes, but it's a good solid weight, middleweight game. I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about seeing the final product. And so I'm telling you, I think you should back this. This isn't just a regular paid preview. I'm saying I'm pretty excited about this one. So New Dawn, check it out. Here's the link.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.